Hello everyone, my name is Shannon and this is Made by Boo. I have quite a few things that I have worked on. Usually I only have knitting or crochet, but I have a little bit of sewing today. So I'm going to dive right into my finished projects and then we will keep moving right on. My finished objects looks kind of small. I do actually have more finished objects that I do not have to show today. Some of the things I have been sewing over the last couple of weeks are gifts. And while I'm not sure if the people they are for watch regularly, I do know that they have subscribed. So they may or may not ever actually watch these. And if there's a chance they watch, I don't want to spoil their gift. So I am going to start with my knitting real quick because I can knock that right out and then we can talk a little bit about the sewing. So I have two finished knitted objects. They're both socks. The first is a pair of socks. The yarn is from Potions and Purls in the color Driftwood. So these were just vanilla socks and I had decided I was going to do 1x1 rib cuffs, heels, and then toes in the contrast color it came with. And as you can see, that is not exactly what happened. So I already sorted it into this bag here. I finished the first sock, cuff, heel, toe, normally with a 20-gram mini, I can easily get cuff, heels, and toes. I haven't done full cuff, heels, and toes on socks in a little while, but I've done it so many times I didn't ever doubt that I'd be able to. And then I got to the second sock, and as I finished the heel, that is how much I had left. And it is technically possible I may have been able to sneak out a toe with that. I didn't really think that was going to be much of a possibility. I figured I could go back to the other sock, pull out the toe, and make a match, but I just decided I didn't care that much. They're going to be a little bit mismatched on the toe. If it bothers me that much, I'll just put on shoes. I don't always get super picky about whether or not my socks match perfectly, as long as they feel well. And I don't think this toe is going to bother me. If I decide later that it does, I can pull out this toe and I have more of the main color. But yeah, just basic vanilla socks. They made me very happy to do a nice simple pair of vanilla socks. I definitely feel like I kind of lost passion for a few of the different projects I've been working on, but we'll kind of get into that in a little bit. The other pair of socks I have that is a finished object is my second pair of Clue socks. So these are using the color Snuffy from Boss Kitty and a mini skein set from the Woolly Dragon. So it has each of these 5 are from the Woolly Dragon. This one was just, I believe it was Knit Picks Bear. So these are the Clue socks that are for my child to coordinate with the ones for me. So as you can see them together, slightly different because I used only the dark brown for hers, the dark brown and the light brown for mine. And when we go to see the Broadway play Clue, we will wear our socks. We both decided we are going to save them, and that will be the first time we wear them, which is an extra sacrifice for her as she does not have as many pairs of knitted socks. And it's going to start getting cold soon, so she will not be able to wear these until then. But we now have our Clue socks to wear together to that play. So those are my finished knitted objects. The others I have are just kind of simple sewn projects. These are 2 table runners. So I've made them a few times. I have a video that was just kind of it's not really a tutorial because I'm not talking in it or anything. It's just a time lapse of me making one. It is not my pattern. This is I've kind of adapted it to make it just like a rectangle, But it is a pattern that goes out free from a craft store I go to in the local area. I believe it's only in the Pacific Northwest and a little bit outside of it. If I remember correctly, it is in Washington and Oregon. I know it's in Idaho, so I know it's like moving out of the Pacific Northwest. And it might be in a couple other places, but it's a chain, but not like a nationwide chain that I am aware of. But they do make little kits in-house, and this one is for a 10-minute table runner. And what they do when they do it is they put the front fabric and the back fabric together. They have it cut to size, and then it comes with a pattern. And this is one that, you can tell they designed for Halloween. It will not be just for Halloween in my house, but whatever. As you can see, it's a very, very simple pattern. You sew these two seams. Then I personally iron it down. So it takes me longer than 10 minutes because I then iron it down to keep it even. Sew along there. And then their pattern, they have you go like that and make a little like point at either side. I have some that are like that. These ones I just kind of folded in the ends at the each side and made it a rectangle. But you can kind of fold them any which way you want. There's no batting, no anything. It's more for the looks. It's not for insulation. This is not quilted or anything, which is part of why they can call it a 10-minute table runner. I made 2 of them for me. So that one is with the skulls, and then this one is with Bigfoot fabric. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it on the backing fabric. The backing fabric has mountains and trees, and it's very, very pretty. So they're both just kind of fun ones. I have 2 that I've made for myself, 1 that I've made for my in-laws. I may be making some more of these for Christmas presents. We will see. But yeah, they're super, super simple, and it's a nice thing when I'm starting to kind of want to sew, but I don't want like a big project, because I buy the kit down there, come home, a few seams, and I have a finished project. I also have a little sewn ghost. I actually got the pattern from Craft Warehouse for this free last year, and then I bought the fabric while I was there, and then it sat for a year. So I finally got it out, and I had more than enough fabric. I made 2 ghosts, this one for me, and then one for my youngest child because she wanted one. And yeah, he's just, if the pattern says it's a ghost pillow, I mean, it's really more of a stuffy. Like I could lay on him, but he's not throw pillow size. He's definitely not like sleeping pillow size. The whole pattern was like on a plain sheet of paper. I'm sure you could probably like blow it up and make a very cool throw pillow or something, but to me, he's definitely more stuffy sized. I have no idea what I'm going to do with him, but he is adorable. And then the last finished object I have, this was just something I finished up this morning while doing other stuff. I am trying to work on some sewing projects that I would like to finish, and some that I have started, and some brand new ones out of nowhere. And one of the things that I had was just two more 10 by 10 squares from a layer cake set. Most of that one is going into a quilt, but I had 2 that were left over, and so I just took it, cut it into quarters, and made some quick coasters. I have a few of coasters like this that I got years ago. I don't remember exactly where, but they were basically just fabric squares. Those ones were a little bit thicker fabric than this. This is not going to be like a heavy-duty coaster that's going to protect everything, but it's like a start. So that is all of the finished objects I have. I did make, again, several other sewn objects, but because they're going to be gifts this year, I'm trying to start on some of my sewn Christmas gifts crazy early, because I know I've been struggling to stay consistent in sewing. Like, there's so many things that are half finished or that I want to start, and I'm just not getting very far in them. So I figured I should probably start early if they are things that I'm going to have to ship to people, if I do not want to be sewing until midnight so that I could ship it out the next day to hit a shipping deadline at the end of the year. Definitely not there if I am starting in September. But of course, because those are all gifts, I cannot show them. all I can really say in my defense is I actually have a much bigger finished pile than this, but I just can't share it. There's a few other things that I'm going to be making as gifts upcoming, so there may be more of those coming up that I can't share. But instead of talking about the things that I cannot share, let me grab my works in progress and we can talk about more things that I can share. All right, so I have 3 works in progress over here. As usual, my tags are a mess. One day I will remember to organize them before we start. One of the problems that I may have today is that I am actually working on a couple of different projects using yarn from the same brand, and I am not sure that I remember which color is which. So that may be an issue today. We will see. At the very least, I'll be able to tell you exactly where those yarns came from. So the first one I have is a pair of socks. My youngest's birthday is coming up this month, and she has requested 2 different things from me to make. One she had requested already, and that was a purple pair of socks. She wants them short socks. I'm not making them super short because she is turning 7. So, I mean, if she wants short socks, I'm not going to make her knee-high socks. But I'm also not going to make them so short that they will always be like falling into her shoes because she's going to run. So these are just a little bit up the ankle. And then we are also going to be getting into winter here soon. The fall winter time in Idaho, we will get snow and cold, and wool socks will be great for her for that, but only if they actually like cover some of her. So these will actually be her first pair of knitted socks I've ever made for her. I tried making her a pair once, and by the time I got to the end of the first sock, her feet had already grown. Because she is little, I haven't made her a bunch of socks for that reason. Like, her feet are growing quickly, and also it's a lot of work for a child that doesn't always like to wear socks. So I've been hesitant to make her some, but she really wants a pair for her birthday. I showed her a few of my purples, and this is the one she picked. So here's where it gets tricky, because this is one of the ones that has one of these 4 colors. I know it's not that one. I'm pretty sure it is this one. So this yarn is from the Hand Dyed Happy Yarn Club by So Happy Jane. And I have another project here that is using the same yarn in 3 different colors. So that's why it was... I'm pretty sure this is the color Mountain Sunrise, if I remember correctly. But it came with another one. I mean, I'm not 100% certain on the color name, but it is a gorgeous purple. And, I mean, because it's 100-gram skein and I'm making short socks for a smaller-footed human being, I'm anticipating having plenty of leftovers from this to figure out what to do with them. It may even end up being another pair of socks for her. We shall see. So they are just going to be vanilla socks, keeping it super, super simple on that. And really hoping that she actually enjoys them once she gets them. I did debate not offering her like a hand-dyed because you have to take a little bit better care of these socks. It is an extra fine superwash merino and nylon blend, but at the same time, like, it is a superwash, so if they accidentally end up in the washer or the dryer, they should survive. And I mean, it does get cold here, so the wool in the socks will help keep her feet warm. Wool does really good when it gets wet, and we are talking about a child who is turning 7. So the other pair of socks that I have, these ones are for me. So this is from the Woolly Dragon. The color is Bear in a Studebaker. And these are a DK weight socks. So I don't make a lot of DK weight socks, and I decided I was going to do the DK weight Vanilla is the New Black socks. I think that's what it's called. My phone is out of reach. I will link it down below. But I've made this pattern before. It has like a very textured, unique heel. The thing I am unsure about is if looking at these, I mean, I know if I hold up the other socks that I have right next to me, it's They're definitely going to look big because the other ones are for a child, but they look like they might be too big, and it's leaving me a little bit concerned that I'm not going to have enough. So I need to weigh how much yarn I have left. I've tried them on, and they're a little bit loose, but not like excessively so. It's one of those where it's like, if I have enough extra yarn, I will not be sad with the size they are. But I mean, looking at how deflated this is, I'm definitely concerned. And I know myself. After I'm done today, I will weigh the yarn and see if I'm going to have enough. And if I have to pull them out, I am not starting these socks right away again. Like, that yarn will go into timeout for a little bit until I feel better. But because I'm kind of worried about whether or not they're going to turn out right, it's definitely leaving me a little less excited about these. So I need to weigh the yarn, see how much I've used, and if there's any chance I'm going to have enough to do 2 socks out of it. If there is not, I will probably unwind the sock and maybe make them in the next size down because they are a little bit baggy, maybe even make them just a little bit shorter. I don't make a lot of DK weight socks, and I really wanted to make a couple of pairs this year just so they're a little bit thicker when it gets really, really cold. But so far, it's not turning out real great. So I definitely think I need to I need an answer as to whether or not they're going to turn out. Otherwise, I can't move on properly. But it's definitely making me less excited about them. So this last work in progress is using more So Happy Jane yarn. I have been getting her Hand-Dyed Happy Yarn Club for over a year now. I've used some of the yarns in projects. Some of them are reserved for the project, but a lot of it just I get 2 skeins every month. I actually have a new So Happy Jane over there. I probably should cut it down to 1 skein because it does do a surplus of yarns that I don't have a plan for when I get them. I don't know what I'm going to do because I have no idea what color they are, and then I end up with 1 skein of each color, so you don't really know what to do with 1 skein. Unless you're just going to do like socks or hats or scarves. Like, there's a lot of 1 skein projects, but I already do a lot of socks, and I'm always trying to keep up with my socks. I don't really wear hats, so I don't make a lot of hats, and I don't really wear a lot of scarves or anything. So some of the times I'm struggling to figure out what to do to make out of them, but I am now combining 3 of them to make a shirt. So 2 of the colors are from the same box. It was Road Trip. And then the last one is from the 100 Acre Woods that came out in January. So I'm pretty sure that these 2 are from Road Trip and that this one is 100 Acre Woods. I'm not 100% positive, but let me turn it right side out. So the shirt that I am making is the Twisted T-shirt by the Little Wolf Knits. I have just split for the sleeves, so I've got like extra cords going on. So the pattern in my size needs 1 color for the ribbing. So it'll be the neck. The bulk of the sleeves is just like a little bit of ribbing there. So like right after this, it's just ribbing, and then ribbing at the bottom. And then it says you're going to need 2 skeins to do the main shirt. So I picked 3 colors that I thought went well together. The top stripe is a little bit thicker. You can see it a little bit more pronounced in the back because of the short rows. But after that top stripe, everything is just 10 rows and then switch color. I thought about trying to do like shorter stripes and doing like, I don't know, 2 or 3 rows, maybe 5 rows, but I ended up deciding on just going nice, bold, big stripes. And I mean, realistically, the big stripes is a little easier for me as well. So again, the ribbing and then this kind of like, really makes me think of like lake water or ocean water. Those are both from Road Trip, and then this one is from 100 Acre Woods. So I split for the sleeves last night, so I've only done a couple of rows after splitting for the sleeves. My basic plan is, I'm 3 rows in. I'm going to finish at least the 10 row stripe and then see how I feel. And then I may do my sleeves right after that first 10 row stripe, because I always put them on cords just because it's easier than like trying to pull it off of spare yarn. But it is in the way. It's not, I always worry that it's going to stretch it out a little bit. So I'll probably just go ahead and do the ribbing on those sleeves early while I don't have as much to move around as well. And then these cords won't get in the way. So I did do one thing that I wasn't totally thrilled about. It may be very hard to see because I don't have autofocus, but you can see I've got kind of like eyelets on one side, but not really on the other. I realized I was pulling my make one stitch from the wrong area, and by the time I realized it the way that it was looking different, it was like, well, I can either pull out everything I've done or I could just make it a feature and roll with it. And I decided to roll with it. But with this pattern, it's supposed to like go down, and then that would continue down all the way to the bottom, and it would just be like a small detail. I am not going to add that small detail after splitting for the arms, only because it's not going to have that big eyelet, so it will not have that continuous look. And if I ever make this shirt again, I will make my stitches a little bit differently so they're not quite as pronounced and different there. So those are all of my works in progress. I do have quite a bit of accumulated items, so let me go ahead and grab those. All right. I am going to see if I can go somewhat chronologically in what I bought, but some of it I have no idea. So moving some of the non-chronological stuff out of the way. Actually, I'll just start with this because it's on top. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, we went to Craft Warehouse again. There was a lot of reasons why our plans changed for the weekend, but we ended up going to Craft Warehouse. I got some fabric that I am not showing right now because it is for a gift, and some fabric. My 7-year-old was there and asked me to make her a fuzzy blanket. I am not showing that fabric right now because it sheds like crazy. So the plan is to make that blanket and be able to show it next time, when I will no longer have it shed every time I look at it. Gorgeous fabric. I'm going to hate working with it, but she will love the blanket. But the part that I did get from Craft Warehouse that I can share is I did get 2 different colors of this Premier Parfait Chunky Pom Pom. So there's this Citrus Burst color and Caramel Crunch, and both of them just have these like bright confetti flecks running through it. Every year I make pumpkins on my Addy machine. I don't need more pumpkins. I don't need more Addy machine pumpkins to display. The people I gift them to don't need more. But this is this year's colors, so I'm really excited about it. They're very, very soft. I'm not sure if I would like crocheting with it or knitting with it, but it would make a great soft sweater or something for somebody who does. I don't hate working with like the chenille kind of stuff, but I mean, as you can see from the things that I'm normally showing I work on, I do also really like working with like fingering weight wool. So this will work up quick on my Addy machine, and they will be super cute with the little flecks of color. And I like having different colors of pumpkins every year to add to it. I also got this skein of Knitted Wit Fingering. They put the label right over it. I am probably going to wind this up today. Not to start today because I do need to finish my other ones, but as my next pair of socks. This is the color Great Pumpkin, and it is just so fall and so exciting. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. I mean, it's going to be socks, but like, I feel like I want to add another color to it. Either stripes or like cuff, heel, toe. I don't want to just use this. I have some leftover like dark brown that would be great to add into it. My littlest that I should add some purple to it because that would make it super spooky, and it really would make it very Halloween to add the purple to this, and I personally would like the orange and the purple. But if I do brown, it makes it more just like fall. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because I don't wear my socks based on the seasonal colors. I wear my socks based on which pair of hand knit socks I feel like wearing. I mean, the ones I'm wearing right now are citrus from the summer. I don't know if you could see that. That was ridiculous to do anyways. So those are the yarns from Craft Warehouse. These ones will go on the Addy machine. This is going to get wound up right away because I'm not usually an orange person. But it's just I'm ready for fall and not ready for it to hit winter and ice and snow, but ready to just sit cozy under a blanket with my wool and enjoy that. So that is that one. I also have my Trilogy Yarns Broadway Club. I always keep them in the bag just so they stay with the bill, so I'm sorry for like any crinkling or anything. I get the Razzle Dazzle base so that it's sparkly. And this one is the play Next to Normal. And it's just a very pretty purple. I actually did offer this to my daughter as one of the options for purple. She chose a different one, obviously. And following the typical way of the Trilogy Yarns pattern, I had never heard of this play. Last month I had heard of it, so this month it's one I haven't heard of. It's nice to hear of new ones, but it's a little bit less fun than getting the ones that I know. So, the other yarn that I have here. So, I went to my local yarn store recently because they had a trunk show from Boss Kitty Yarns. I really do love my local yarn shop, but I don't go in there nearly as often because I get yarn from so many places. It's one of those where I'd love to just go and hang out, but then I always see stuff I want to buy, and I don't need to accumulate yarn that quickly. I was planning kind of on going recently again, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So the first yarn I got is not actually from Boss Kitty Yarn. It is Always Be Kind Yarns, and it is the color black, white, and rainbow all over. It is a DK sparkle base, and it was just gorgeous. I liked the rainbow, I liked the gray, I liked the sparkle. This is going to be something, probably a pair of DK weight socks. Again, I did say I wanted to make some, and we'll see how those ones go to see what changes I need to make. But I thought this was just beautiful. If I make these up for nice warm socks in the winter, that little rainbow will be a nice pop of color to dreary days. So I don't know exactly when I will make these up, but the plan is to make them up soonish. Let me throw some stuff in there. I also got some roving. So this is, does it say? So this is her floof base. So this is from Boss Kitty. And it is 100% BFL wool fiber. And I just really liked the color. The color name is Reborn in Fire. To me, it just has that sunset color, which I absolutely love. And I do not need more wool to spin. I have so much wool to spin that I am so behind on it. But I loved it and I got it. The last one I got on that trip is also from Boss Kitty Yarn. It's not technically the last one I got on that trip. I did get one other that I got for my daughter who crochets. She already has it and has turned it into gloves, so I'm not showing it today. But this is on her BKDK weight yarn. It's 100% superwash merino, and it is the color Final Frontier. And this is also planning on being a pair of DK weight socks. Again, exactly when, I don't know, because I always have what is definitely the next pair of socks. And it doesn't always end up being the next pair of socks. This was the next pair of socks until I found this yarn. And that was within 2 weeks. So, we shall see what is actually the next pair of socks. So, the next one I have, there's not much to show. This came in it's the first Advent I actually got in. I saw this last year and got really excited and a little sad I got missed out. It is the 2024 Woolens and Nosh Advent calendar, Advent socks. This is the contrast skein it came with. And then what I thought was super cool about it is it's got a little snap, side 1, side 2, so you can make your socks in tandem. And it's already caked up in there, so you get absolutely no spoilers until the color comes out. It is so tempting to start it now, as it arrived at my house in August, but I'm going to find a place to stash it until Advent time. Last year I did another pair of Advent socks where it was like a stripe every day, and I am blanking on the company name. I'm hoping to get them again this year, but I did not see them for sale yet this year, so I either missed them or they're still coming out. But I have a pair of Advent socks already to work on either way. So the last thing I got is my Hand-Dyed Happy Yarn Club by So Happy Jane. And it has been like a week since I opened it, so I technically know what's in here, but I don't entirely remember. So I have this lovely painted card. Then, trying to remember what these are. Okay, so this is a bath bomb? Salt Block Hydrate. Huh. I mean, it looks like a bath bomb. I honestly did not look at this too much. Yeah, it's got to just be a bath bomb. Like, I don't know what else that would be looking like that. So there's that. It does smell really, really good. And then the part that I did really pay attention to when I opened it was the yarn. And the color and the theme for this box was sea glass. And I remember because I got this like 2 days after I started my shirt using yarn from this dyer. And all I could think was I should have waited another day. And then I would have had these two colors to look through as well because they fit so well in with what I did. This is probably very, very close to my ribbing color. So I could have technically done like super subtle stripes with these and then something else for the collar. I still like the shirt that I'm doing, but it was one of those where it was like, man, if I had had just a couple of days before I had wound everything up, I might have made completely different color choices. So that is all I have for the yarn and fabric and all of making content. We didn't really have a super exciting last couple of weeks. We had 2 different times that we were going to do something, and then with illnesses going through and things like that, things just didn't end up happening. We were going to go to the Western Idaho Fair in Boise, and we were sick. We were going to go to see the Spirit of Boise hot air balloons, and then we were told that it was the air quality, but there's fires and smoke, and they ended up canceling one day, and then we were not feeling great still, so we ended up not even trying because there was a huge possibility they would cancel again. So it hasn't ended up being kind of like disappointing a little bit with some of the things that we have wanted to do that haven't been able to do. But I mean, with everything that we've been making, it's still been great on this nice long Labor Day weekend. After our plans changed with sickness and the balloons being canceled, I rearranged my craft area. I would turn around the camera and show it to you right now, but I don't actually film in my craft area. In our house, we have it's a 2-story house, and we have a very open loft space that has become my making area, but it also means that it's not enclosed, so I can't really record as easily when there's a lot of other people who live in this house and would go in and out. So I don't film in there, but my table used to be kind of like floating in the middle of the room, and I moved it closer to the window where I felt like my space it wasn't fueling me creatively. And so I kept thinking I wanted to rearrange it, and then I just kind of got an inspiration, and so I was tired. I didn't feel well, but once I started doing it, it was like, well, I'm in it now, and I finished it, and I'm really enjoying the space like that. I'm hoping it'll kind of inspire me to keep working on some of these projects that I haven't, which to a certain extent it already has. But I'm enjoying the fact that because I moved everything around, I found some things that I almost forgot about, and I now have them working. And I wanted to open up the floor space because when I make quilts, I usually lay out the quilts out just on the floor to get things done when they're that big. And with my table in the middle of the room, that didn't give me as much floor space. So far, the floor space has been mostly covered in my children because when I go up there to work, they just kind of come, sit down on the floor, talk, and hang out, which, I mean, I am not saying that is a bad thing. I love having them up there. But when I clear the floor space for quilting, I then now have to clear the children off the floor space to do the quilting. But it's all right because they are very movable and then they help me. And hanging out up there, they give me a lot of opinions on colors, and it's nice that there's a good space for them up there as well. They seem to be enjoying it so far. So that is all I have for today. I am already starting to ramble, and I now have a lot of yarn around me that has been sitting in my craft room waiting to be put away or wound up. My husband was actually excited. I made new table runners because he was kind of bored with the old ones, so he will want these ones, and I may have to hide my ghost toy from my child because she may decide she needs 2 of them. So I need to get everything put away and get this film edited. I hope you are having a wonderful long weekend if you have a long weekend. By the time this goes up, the weekend will be over, so I guess I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I am rambling. Have a very happy making.